This week we have a Lake St. Clair fishing show exclusive. Underwater video from the lake and the St. Clair River. Mark Maps Live customers are in for a treat. We're going to tell you where these spots are. The first spot we will look at is a chain buoy in the lake in 11 feet of water. No fish here today. Here is a lake spot with rock in 15 feet of water. Seeing this drum is a good sign that smallmouth are around, but the numbers are low. We found good numbers here on this fixed shipping channel marker in the lake. On this spot, we're in 21 feet in the channel system. The presence of other species is always a plus when looking for smallmouth, but in this case the smallmouth numbers are very low. Seawalls in the St. Clair River are holding good numbers and size right now. This channel spot tells us a lot. We see good numbers on this 9-foot flat. Here's a smallie in the weed with minnows. In 15 to 25 feet, we find our best quality and good numbers. In 30 plus feet, the numbers thin out in spite of the excellent structure down there. So I hope that gives you a good look at what's happening in the lake and the river system this week. Have a good weekend. Okay, cut that one.
Well, this is an interesting summer. Let's look at the GreatLakesBass.com fishing report. We're actually not getting a lot of fishing reports in right now. There are some people that think that fishing is down on St. Clair. I'm getting a few calls about skinny big fish and hard time finding big fish. And I noticed though that is more so from the tournament anglers. Some of the non-tournament anglers are at least telling me that they're doing pretty good. I know recently it was reported to me that one of the anglers was catching more big fish this year than last year, so it's interesting to hear the differences from expectations and what people are catching. But probably again my best resource right now is once again guide Marcel Veenstra, and of course Wayne corroborates a lot of what I got from Marcel too, looking at his page and talking to him briefly. He's been really busy thanks to Lake St. Clair being the #1 bass lake in the country. On Tuesday, August 6th, he and his clients caught 186 smallmouth bass, with most of them being around 3 pounds. Now, anybody that hears that and doesn't think we have an unbelievable fishery, I won't understand. And I'm hearing about the lack of big fish, and Marcel says they're not catching a lot of real big fish, but I noticed 3 or 4 days a week he has pictures of 4 to 5 pound plus class fish for his clients, and that's pretty good. So maybe all of us are a little spoiled to think that we're not catching as many 4 and 5 pounders as we did the same time last year or something like that. But looking at Marcel's pictures on on his Facebook page, you can find it through marcelsguideservice.com. I'm seeing a lot of really fat bass. So I asked Marcel, you know, what are you doing different that you're catching those numbers of bass and you're catching a little better quality and you're getting some big fat fish? And he said the same thing Wayne told me, is that right now the fish are gorging on minnows, and that he is tending to get the bigger fish up off the bottom on jerkbaits, suspending jerkbaits. And this is something I heard from probably 6 or 7 anglers in the last day and a half, the same theme over and over, that they're not getting them on the bottom, the bigger fish, like they expect to, yet they're getting these bigger fish on reaction baits and wondering what's going on. Well, I think simply what's going on is the fish are feeding on minnows up off the bottom. Wayne reported seeing big schools of bait, and Marcel's reporting similar thing, and he's out almost every single day. And these fish are spitting up tons of minnows. So if you're not fishing around a lot of bait, you're probably not in the right place. I asked Marcel, you know, you're doing really good, what's the boat traffic around you? He said, I'm not seeing hardly any other boats, and I'm getting that from other anglers too. So my tip of the week is this is something that we all do. I've done it. I've been guilty of it a million times. Is don't fish last year's fish. Don't fish last week's fish. Don't fish last month's fish. You need to find where they are now. That's my tip. And that sounds overly simple, but if you're not catching them good and you're not catching the bigger fish, you're just not in the right place, because they didn't all disappear. I always try to check on that and see if there's anything going on out there. But enough of the anglers I know are doing really good still. There's still a few big weights coming in tournaments. I just think it's a matter of that lake is changing all the time. Forage is changing. We've had some strange weather the last few years, and this year was no exception. If you're not catching them really good, then you need to move and find them. And since I'm getting reports of large schools of perch and large schools of bait, if you're not seeing those, you're probably just not in the best area. Just keep moving around key spots until you start seeing a lot of bait. If you see a lot of bait, there should be a lot of bass around. And remember, if they're feeding on a lot of minnows right now and keying on them, you probably need to be fishing farther up off the bottom, and maybe that will put some more of those big fish on your end of your rod for you. So that is kind of my tip and my speech and everything for the fishing report for the Lake St. Clair Fishing Show this week. And I hope thinking about that helps you. I talked to several anglers today, and they think that's kind of the key about what's going on. So good luck with that, and make sure you get on GreatLakesBass.com/Lake St. Clair Fishing Report and let me know how you did, because I'm curious to see if we can put this puzzle together. That's always the fun part about fishing anywhere, including the best bass lake in the United States.
Well, that's it for this week. Join us next week on Friday and every other Friday to the end of September, and we'll give you the latest news and bass fishing updates on Lake St. Clair. See you out there.